right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Connor Enox, and I am the president of the Illinois State chapter of Beta Gamma Sigma. Thank you all for coming this afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome the initiates, your family and friends, Dean Gerry McKean, other College of Business faculty, and our special guest present this afternoon. Today, we will honor a truly select group of individuals. In order to be eligible for membership in Beta Gamma Sigma, one must rank in the top 10% of their sophomore, junior, or senior class, or in the top 20% of master degree recipients in the College of Business. Initiates, we challenge you to allow this honor not only to motivate you towards continued success in your business and studies and careers, but also to encourage you to use your knowledge for the betterment of society. Now, if you would please welcome Dr. Gerry McKean, Dean of the College of Business.
Thank you, Connor. It's certainly my pleasure to be here representing the College of Business, and let me add my welcome to our inductees today that we're going to be honoring, to our family, friends, faculty, and staff. Certainly a great day. It's a great time of year for Illinois State University and for the College of Business. As we prepare to honor our students this afternoon, I'd like to share just some brief comments about Beta Gamma Sigma and about the College of Business. Beta Gamma Sigma was started in 1913 as a national honor society at the University of Wisconsin. In 1921, membership was restricted to organizations, to universities that are part of the Association to Advance the Collegiate Schools of Business, AACSB. Today, it remains that premier distinction of quality for students in AACSB accredited schools. Today, there are 747 universities throughout the world that are accredited by AACSB. That's out of about 13,000 business programs. Those 727 programs that are accredited by AACSB reside in 48 different countries. Illinois State has the distinction of being one of those 747, but it has another distinction from AACSB, being one of 182 institutions in the world that also has a separate AACSB accreditation in accounting. That is 1.3% of all business programs in the world that hold that distinction. As Connor indicated, membership in AACSB is restricted to the top 10% of the undergraduate students in the College of Business and the top 20% of graduate students. At Illinois State University today, the average GPA of the inductees in the undergraduate program is 3.7. They're going to be honored this afternoon. The graduate students have a near perfect 3.9 GPA. Those are the students that will be inducted today. Membership in Beta Gamma Sigma is the highest academic honor that a College of Business accredited by AACSB may bestow on its students. It's a significant honor and achievement. At a time when student loan debt is $1.1 trillion, that's more than consumer credit card debt of $890 billion, the U.S. Department of Education is considering a rating system to rate, to value, to judge institutions in the United States, institutions of higher education. That rating system will likely start in the fall of 2015 in some format, and it's going to consider things like student default, loan default rate, and graduation rate as two of the more significant components. I'm here to share with you this afternoon that Illinois State University's graduation rate at almost 71.8% is in the top 10% in the United States, all institutions. The loan default rate at Illinois State University is 3.6%. Nationally, it's 14.7%. As you look at other institutions around the state of Illinois, you will see that Illinois State University is head and shoulders above most institutions in the state. That's certainly an achievement that we're quite proud of. I want to assure you as students, as parents and friends and guests that are supporting these students, that you're at the right university. You're in the right College of Business, and you're in the right academic program. The College of Business is recognized as a top 100 College of Business in the United States, nationally. There are only two other, one private and one public institution in the state of Illinois that hold that distinction. We're very proud of that. Most of our academic programs have some type of national honor or national recognition. For our accounting students that are here today, you are in a top 20 program nationally. For our insurance students here today, you're in one of the 6th largest insurance programs in the nation. If you're a professional sales student in the audience today that's part of our award ceremony, then you are in one of the top sales programs in the nation. Only 80 sales programs in the United States are recognized by the Sales Education Foundation for being able to satisfy the requirements of that particular group. International Business is one of 24 programs in the nation to have the curriculum certified by a national organization. So if you're here today at Illinois State University, you're certainly in the right place as part of a great institution. Student honorees, by the fact that you're being honored today, you've completed one very important component of what's necessary to get an outstanding job. Graduates from Illinois State University last May, the average salary was over $47,000, and your academic achievement is going to help you land that job. But that's only one component, the academic component. There are other things that you need to consider. So if you're a sophomore or a junior, I'm going to encourage you today to work on that other side. You've completed the academic side, you're an excellent student in that area. I want you to think about other areas that may be developed outside the classroom. I want you to think about critical thinking, communication skills, leadership skills, innovation, and network, to name a few. And if you'd like to work on those starting next fall, the College of Business will be implementing a Redbird career portfolio that is going to be designed to have activities for freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year that will allow you to build the skill set to take care of that other component, those other components as part of an outstanding education from an outstanding College of Business. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. And in closing, I sincerely congratulate all of our inductees that are here today. And let me point out some very important people that are here today that are making this program possible. Connor, I want to thank you and your staff today, your council, your executive committee for organizing this event. It's a wonderful event for our students. And faculty advisor, Chris Knuth. Chris, I want to thank you for what you've done for this organization and what you do on a daily basis. So congratulations again, and thank you very much.
Members of Illinois State University College of Business, Chapter Beta Gamma Sigma, we are about to proceed with the induction of newly elected members. Ms. Vice President, please present the candidates.
Mr. President, I present the graduate, senior, junior, and sophomore candidates for membership in Beta Gamma Sigma. Will you please stand and be recognized? Please remain standing.
Do you desire to be admitted to Beta Gamma Sigma? If so, say I do. Please be seated. You have been honored by an invitation to membership in Beta Gamma Sigma. Because of what you have achieved in scholarship and service, we are honored to have you join us. Beta Gamma Sigma is a national scholastic honor society dedicated to principles and ideals essential to a worthy life as well as a commendable business career. The mission of Beta Gamma Sigma is to encourage and honor academic achievement in the study of business and personal and professional excellence in the practice of business. This mission is exemplified in the 5 objectives of the society. These objectives are: number 1, to encourage and honor high academic achievement by students of business and management through chapters in AACSB accredited programs. Number 2, to foster in Beta Gamma Sigma members an enduring commitment to the founding principles and values of society. Honor and integrity, pursuit of wisdom, and earnestness. Number 3 is to support the advancements of business thought at both the society and chapter levels so as to encourage lifelong learning for members and other constituents. Number 4 is to enhance the value of Beta Gamma Sigma for students and alumni members in their professional lives. And lastly, number 5 is to enhance the visibility and reputation of Beta Gamma Sigma. The principles of Beta Gamma Sigma are represented by 3 Greek words, the initials of which form the name of our society, Beta, Gamma, Sigma. Hear now what Beta means to us.
Beta is the initial letter of the Greek word babios, which signifies honor. Honor is personal integrity and excellence of character. It is an enduring quality found in all persons who deserve to lead others. All honorable persons conscientiously seek to recognize, to uphold, and to encourage that which is ethical and that which is just. With humility, they acknowledge human failings, which tend to induce the sacrifice of lofty ideas for base gains. They are aware of the difficulty of distinguishing right from wrong when confronted by a variety of alternative goals and a multitude of pressures and means to achieve these goals. But their honor is coupled with resolute courage. They may falter and they may fail, yet they rise with renewed determination to do what is right. Their reputations are their most priceless possessions. All honorable persons recognize their duties before they demand their rights. They respect law and promote order, not because of a negative fear of sanctions, but because of an affirmative conviction that a good society requires the stability which order provides. Worthy members of Beta Gamma Sigma consciously seek to act honorably at all times. Thus, they confidently pursue peace of mind and happiness for themselves, even as they serve as an exemplar for others. Honor is a guiding star which encourages altruism, enlightens social responsibility, and service rather than selfishness. I ask you to accept honor as an ideal to be translated into reality as you conduct your everyday life. Listen now to the explanation of Gamma.
Gamma is the initial letter of the Greek word gnosis, which means wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge tested by experience and tempered by discerning judgment. It abhors prejudice. It insists upon freedom of thought and expression. Truly wise persons are aware of their talents and achievements and do not deny or belittle them with misplaced modesty. However, they are also acutely aware of their own limitations and are sympathetic to the shortcomings of others. They are quick to acknowledge their profound dependence on masters who have gone before them. They laud those who have laboriously built earlier civilizations, and they gratefully accept the rich intellectual and cultural heritage they have provided. They are, moreover, thankful for contributions to their development made by family and friends, by superiors and subordinates, by associates and antagonists. Persons of wisdom constantly seek a better comprehension and more fruitful application of what is known. They are also endlessly engaged in a quest for an understanding of what is unknown. Although the fund of human knowledge has literally multiplied in recent decades, the wise person happily anticipates a future which promises to provide a geometric expansion of this treasured store. Confronted by a veritable flood of facts and concepts, the person of wisdom exercises special discrimination to select, to arrange, to relate, to interpret, and to apply. This is a challenge worthy of the finest mind. I ask you to continue our quest for wisdom. Nurture it and utilize it in your conduct of every day of your life. Listen now to the explanation of Sigma.
Sigma is the initial letter of the Greek word spoude, which means earnestness. Earnestness is enthusiasm measured by achievement, disciplined by reason, and ennobled by sincerity. It is that dynamic quality which is essential for all great achievement. Earnest persons both reject temerity and timidity. They have courage to match their convictions. They inspire confidence, invite action, and generate progress. Without earnestness, both honor and wisdom lose much of their potential effectiveness. Noble purposes defined with wisdom and upheld with honor remain evanescent dreams without the driving power of sensible enthusiasm. The greatest personal achievements are tributes to the blending of honor, wisdom, and earnestness in the minds and hearts of those who lead. Rewards for the individual and progress for the society surely proceed from this wholesome union of qualities. To each of you, much has been given in mind and body and spirit. Of each of you, accordingly, much is expected. Earnestness will provide the perseverance that dispels weariness, the forward thrust that overcomes opposition, and the resilience that rebounds from reverses. To the earnest person, problems become opportunities for service and profit. I ask you to accept earnestness as a guide and stimulant in your personal conduct every day of your life.
Would all of the candidates please rise? You have heard the principles which members of Beta Gamma Sigma endorse and strive to uphold: honor, wisdom, and earnestness. Do you accept these principles as your own? If so, say I do.
I do.
I shall read the pledge of Beta Gamma Sigma. Thereafter, you will be asked to affirm the pledge as evidence of your wish to become a member of our society. I pledge myself to maintain and uphold the ideals and principles of Beta Gamma Sigma, the Scholastic Business Honor Society. I will guard and cherish honor. I will strive ever to acquire wisdom, use it for the betterment of mankind. I will cultivate earnestness in all of my undertakings. As a member of this chapter of Beta Gamma Sigma, I will recognize my obligation to assist and cooperate in the development of its purposes. I will seek by all honorable means to advance the interests of the university, of my community, and of my nation. If you affirm this pledge, please say, I do, in unison.
I do.
Please be seated. In recognition of your accomplishments and of your pledge to high ideals, Dean Gerry McKean and I will now present the key of Beta Gamma Sigma. This key is a symbol of the ideals of honor, wisdom, and earnestness, which you have accepted. Will you please come forward as your name is called to receive your key?
Robert Hewlett, Brian York, Brock Zwicky, Felicia Shrestha, Fez Demolria, Taylor Beach, Haley Dudley, Krishna Iuni, Matthew Vogel, Randy Morrison, Caitlin Kirkstra, Kyle Zulz, Kelly Jordan, Enoch Kimsa, Lori. Ashley Bonker. Fong Pham. Matt Porter. Ryan Powers. Maureen Christensen. Jordan Crouch. Michael Minton. Zachary Gannett. Kevin Fogarty. Grant Rudin. Michael Braun. Alexander Strauss. Omar Serrato. Anthony Thompson. Evan Hoon. Rhea Rufflinger. Kevin Paleo. Colin Walker. Eric Weber. Eric Watson. Connor Joyce. Congratulations, everyone.
The Chapter Honoree Award is given annually to business professional within our community. The award recognizes one who upholds the ideals of Beta Gamma Sigma, manifested through a distinguished career and record of service in the community and society. The recipient of our 2015 Chapter Honoree Award and our speaker for this afternoon is Mr. Bill Allison, Global Technology Leader at Deloitte Consulting. Dean McKean will now introduce Mr. Allison and present the Chapter Honoree Award.
Bill, would you come up, please?
First of all, we'd like to present you with the 2015 Chapter Honoree Award. Congratulations. Thank you.
Principal with Deloitte Consulting since 1999, Bill Allison currently serves as a global technology leader for Deloitte. Bill has more than 25 years of experience in the analysis, design, and implementation of information systems, system strategy, and business process improvement. He has worked with some of the largest, most complex organizations in the world. He is responsible for 55,000 staff members globally. Bill's previous positions at Deloitte include the National Service Line Leader of the SAP practice and the National Managing Director for Enterprise Applications, where he provided strong ongoing leadership to improve operations and strategic planning. He has spent 3 years as a Regional Managing Director for Deloitte Consulting in the Pacific Southwest, where he oversaw significant profitable growth in the region. Leading up to that role, Bill was a consulting principal in the Deloitte Midwest region, serving as a lead consulting principal for Gateway. Bill has shared his expertise with many groups through speaking engagements, such as the Global Analyst Summit, Enterprise Application Summit, and Global Technology Council meetings. Bill earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from Illinois State University and attended the Northwestern University Executive Program in manufacturing physics. The faculty in the College of Business and the College of Applied Science and Technology, we got to learn from Bill yesterday. I had Bill as a student in class many years ago, and it's certainly a pleasure to reconnect with you and to learn from you for a change. So congratulations on your success in your career and as our 2015 chapter honoree.
Thank you. Gerry, thank you. And for those of you who didn't quite understand the relationship between Gerry and myself, he was the poor devil that had to try to teach me a few things before I got out of here. So I am shuffling notes here at the moment, but so I'm Bill Allison, for those of you who haven't read your program. And for those of you who really haven't read the program, it's my job now to stand in front of you and talk to you about the things that I found useful between the day I determined that you had to pay your parking tickets to get out of this university and today. So quite a lot has happened. Then I was part of the class of 1979. I was a business admin major, as Gerry said, and by definition, I was never as good a student as you all are, right? So I really commend you on your academic focus and your data intelligence and all the things that it takes to get you to where you've got today. It's actually quite an achievement. Now, as Gerry mentioned, I'm the global managing partner for the technology practice in Deloitte, and that's roughly 60,000 people and about $6 billion worth of revenue, and it's all around the world. We're in 144 countries. I travel globally quite extensively, and I'm going to try to impart a little bit of wisdom, if I can, upon you around that sort of globality, if you will. Last year, for example, I spent 45 weeks out of the country, but being married, I only missed 3 weekends at home. So just a lot of airliner time over the last several years, but it's been a wonderful ride, no pun intended. I've also worked in small contexts as well. Before it was fashionable to call small business startups, I actually did a couple of startups. One succeeded, one failed. So learned a lot from small contexts before going into large context as well. And you'll probably identify pretty rapidly that context is one of the key things today that I'm going to talk to you about. So what I'd like to do is spend a few minutes and but I may tell you a story here, and we have like 20 minutes or 25 minutes or something like that. I may tell you a little story before we get started, and Gerry mentioned that I was with the faculty yesterday, and in one of the first sessions, for the first time in my life, I sat at the front of the room, and there were a couple of dozen faculty members waiting to hear something from me, and 3 words sprang to mind, and they were, "Isn't this ironic?" and I couldn't resist saying, "Listen up, gang, there's going to be a test at the end here, so I need your full attention." Now, I would say to this group, there will not be a test, but we are going to afford you the opportunity to do some Q&A should you have that desire, and I would just say be fearless in the way that you question me. Our legal department has advised me to let you know that the opinions that I'm about to impart upon you are my own and my own only, and not Deloitte, blah, 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 right? So we've got that out of the way. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about anything, including how much guys like me make, right? Or what we do on a daily basis, or anything else that comes to the top of your mind. So let me first say, now you mentioned there was a little bit of a nod in my bio to physics, right? And I've always been kind of interested in the study of matter and energy as it relates to, things, right? And so I've kind of entitled the first item I want to impart to you, career physics, right? So that's this matter and energy thing. And I think I'm going to tell you some things that you may have heard before, and they were things that certainly I had heard before, but I dismissed them candidly as platitudes because I never really understood the why behind some of the things I'm about to tell you. And so therefore I thought, well, okay, that's great. I've heard that 100 times before, and I'm going to go do what I want to do anyway, right? So I'm going to try to give you some whys for some things that you may consider platitudes today. I'm going to start with a little math, right? Physical fitness plus passion equals energy, right? Physical fitness plus passion equals energy. And wherever he is, my calculus professor is saying, my God, he finally solved an equation. So fitness, no, I am not a marathon runner, but in spending that much time sort of away from home, on the road constantly, and in different environments all the time, I learned some important things about physical fitness and the necessity for some level of it, right? Now, I can see by looking at all of you, you've engaged in some of that, and I had a discussion with a smaller group earlier, and I was really amazed that they sort of placed, working out and running and walking or whatever it takes to be physical fit sort of at the top of their list. It really didn't occur to me to do that until fairly recently. It gets harder as life sort of grabs you harder, right? And there are more things on your plate, you're distracted in more ways, your job gets harder, you maybe have a family, and all those life distractions are going to cause you to sort of stray away from physical fitness, but I would advise you not to. So that's the fitness part of fitness plus passion equals energy. Passion means that you're going to find some key elements in that which you do, and whether it's professionally or even more broadly in life, you're going to find some elements in there that you really like. Right now, it's unlikely that you will like everything about your life or your job or whatever you happen to be talking about. And in the particular case of a job or a career, that's why in the English language there are two separate words for work and play, right? So it's not the same thing, right? But if you think about it hard enough, you should be able to identify, I hope you would be able to identify some things about your career that really bring you joy, right? And they could be any, the gamut of what's possible there is quite wide. It will be different for each one of you. If you don't do that, you won't be able to sustain focus, right, and sustain enthusiasm around your job for a very long time, which is what it takes, I think, to be successful. And without it, and again, maintaining your attention and curiosity. Curiosity is something I'm going to talk to you about in a minute as well. In this sustained way, almost impossible. Right? And I didn't believe that early in my career. I thought my questions were, okay, so how much did that pay again? How much money is that? And do I get a car? Is there a company car in this deal somewhere or something like that? Right? It wasn't like, well, so can I see myself being passionate about this career? And my parents and some of the faculty and other sort of mentors that I've had over my life have said that to me, but I never really understood the importance of it until much later in life. So that was the find something you like doing and you'll be successful at it sort of platitude that I never really understood why until now. So that passion, very important, finding something you like in your job. Secondly, why is energy important? Well, energy is that thing, again, the combination of physical fitness and passion, that's what's required to apply yourself in a sustained way to anything. Right? So whether it's a business problem or a personal problem or something even much broader than that socially. And what it takes to succeed is not sort of episodic bursts of brilliance. It's more sustained effort over time, typically speaking. And without that energy, that combination of physical fitness and passion, you'll never be able to solve the complex problems. You'll never be able to sustain your level of interest and and focus on things long enough to be highly successful. So you need to do those two things. Item number 2, so now item number 1, now we have energy, right? So we know a way to develop energy. I think you have to apply yourself now, or you have enough energy to apply yourself in a sustained way, but in a sustained way to what, right? Well, in my job and in most jobs, problem solving is really important, right? Now that's another one of those platitudes, right? You think, okay, isn't that sort of intuitively obvious, Bill? Led you through thousands of miles to tell us that problem solving is important, but we kind of already knew that, right? Well, so I would tell you though that it is incredibly important, and maybe even in that skill and that energy around problem solving is vitally important in the business world. And I'll give you just one example that I have some personal contact with. So Walmart has been a big client of ours for a long time, and I've had the great fortune to spend a lot of time around that enterprise. And Walmart would say that they got to be the biggest company in the world by inventing nothing, right? And as a matter of fact, they still maintain that old 5 and dime store in Northwest Arkansas where they started, and the biggest company in the world invented nothing. I mean, and to me, that's incredible. But what they are great at, and what they do say they do, is they are in the business of solving impossible problems, right? So when you can solve problems that are seemingly impossible, and for me, at that critical moment in time, calling my father looking for money for parking tickets was an impossible problem. I did solve it though, and I got graduated from the university. And I would say you will be confronted with impossible problems like that earlier in your life, and they only get more impossible as time goes on, right? And so you have to be ready for that. Now, what's the sort of nature of problem solving now that we have all this energy to apply to it? Well, I would say, my own personal experience here, is that problem solving is energy plus tools, the quantity times resolve. Another cheer from the math department, wherever they are, right? So what does this mean? So recall that energy means fitness and passion combined, right? What are tools? Well, tools are some things you're born with, right? Like native intelligence, right? So you have to have a certain IQ level to be functional in this kind of environment, but it is augmented by the method that you get taught at this university, for example, for acquiring knowledge, right? And that is a tool for you. Another tool are those artifacts and objects and pieces of intellectual property that you do acquire. Those are also tools, right? So there's a plug for higher education, guys. You can all relax now. It's important to apply tools with your energy, and however, that's not enough. It takes resolve, and what resolve to me is the ability to, in a determined way, get to the crux or crucible of issues. Now, I will tell you that my experience has been both in small companies and in big companies, but regardless of scale, what you will find is there will be forces in this world, or maybe even within the company that you work for, that are going to be expert at distracting you from the crux of an issue or from the crucible of a problem, right? And you have to have incredible focus to sort of drive towards that nugget of what's right and what's wrong and what we're really trying to get done. And as a consultant, I can tell you, so we're working a lot for Hewlett Packard right now. This is public information. So Hewlett Packard, huge company today, being broken up into 2 major pieces, each one about $50 billion. Right? And of course, there are many, many problems associated with doing that. And we have a team of hundreds of people helping diagnose all those problems. And every single one of those people has to figure out what the crux of the issue is in a very complicated environment. Right? Otherwise, we end up working furiously to solve the wrong problems or problems that don't really exist. That we think are there but are not, right? And there's a level of mental discipline that is required to get to the crux of an issue or the crucible of a problem. Now, it's not hopeless because you have demonstrated a certain amount of that ability already. Is, to me, the thing the one thing for the people in this room that will cause you to be either really high achievers, really great, or just pretty good. I mean, so this is kind of the tipping point, I think, in this equation. So, and that is, item number 3 is context. Right? I mean, context is one of my favorite words, and I sort of blew that all over the faculty over the last day or so, and espoused it pretty heavily. And I think, as we talk more and more about it, it's probably a good thing for you all as students to focus on and to think about, right, as you prepare to go into the broader world. And I would tell you that energy and the ability to solve problems are sub-optimized without mastering this thing called context, right? So what is context? It can be organic, like people and culture. I travel all over the world, and I can tell you that solving a problem in Louisville is a lot different than solving a problem in London, even though it may be the same problem, right? Because they're people, culture, geography, logistics, language, all that kind of stuff sort of plays in there. It could be the difference between solving a problem at Hewlett-Packard, so kind of big, structured, mature company, versus Google, right? Big, less structured, less mature. Right? And we work at both places, and I can tell you that our people that go from one context to the other have to alter their approach to problem solving in pretty drastic ways, right? Even though the problems can be similar or identical. Context can be inorganic, like timeline or return on investment. How fast is fast enough? In the mergers and acquisition environment, which we're in right now at Hewlett-Packard, we're under incredible time pressure. So knowing how fast is fast enough and how good is good enough when you are problem solving is the most important tool that we as professionals have, right? I can tell you that, I'll give you a great example of what happens when you lose track of context and you don't master it. So in my job, I have many thousands of people who work for me, and I'm sort of active in deploying these people against complicated problems. There are occasions when some really smart people get rejected by our clients and sent back to our office because they weren't able to impress the client, inspire the client, articulate the problem, explain the answer, explain the roadmap for getting the answer, all that kind of stuff. And it's not because they didn't know how, and it's not because they weren't smart enough, it's because they didn't master the context that they were in, right? And the simplest example of that I can think of is that sometimes your audience, for example, will be top-down thinkers. Top-down thinkers like answer first, detail second, right? Bottom-up thinkers like detail first, answer second. And if you get those out of order with those people, they're equally insulted by the conversation, and they equally as quickly reject you as an expert. Right? So that's a really good example, I think, of organic context. And I've had a bunch of really smart people thrown off of engagements because they didn't master the context. Understanding context is also a great catalyst for innovation, and that's that one good idea, right, that makes a huge difference. I would tell you that any level of innovation that is not sensitive to context is largely irrelevant, right? So if you have, understanding how to, I'm off the cuff here, which is always dangerous. Making a great ice maker in Antarctica probably might be a fabulous innovation, but out of context and irrelevant, right? So I would just say that to me is the tipping point that takes all those things, energy, passion, problem-solving ability, that sort of thing, and the tipping point is how well you master the context that you are in. And I bet you can feel this even from class to class, right? All of your faculty members are human beings, and they're organic, and so therefore they're slightly different. And their approach to imparting wisdom and knowledge to you is slightly different. And you, as the receiver of that wisdom and knowledge, have to engage in a slightly different approach to do that. And communicating back to them, same deal, right? You have to understand how to do that. The last item in the equation that I'm giving you is just a section that I'm going to call spasm prevention. So all this direction and intensity needs a counterbalance, right? You can't be mightily intense and directed all the time, in my experience. Now, this diversion or this sort of relaxation of your brain muscle, even though I know that technically it's not muscle, right? But you can brain cramp for sure, and I think all of you have done This might be art, music, sports, do-yourself crafts, Zen, yoga, mani-pedi, anything like that. But it has to be something that's very strong and almost magical for you and totally immersive, right? And why is that? It's because after all this intensity and direction and focus, your brain needs to relax, and you need complete distraction, I think, at certain points in time. Need an example of what complete distraction is? So, my mom was a music teacher her entire life, and she was classically trained. And one day, she and I sat together, I'm going to date myself here, she and I sat together and we watched a concert video, and the band was Bon Jovi, right? And they were performing at Madison Square Garden, and I think it was back in the 80s at some point in time, but we saw the music video, or the concert video. And it was about an hour and a half, and I thought, wow, I wonder how far my mom's going to make it into this, because she's more about sort of Mozart and Chopin and Liszt and that sort of crowd, and not John Bon Jovi, right? And Richie Zambora. At the end of the music video, instead of turning to me and telling me how horrified she was and how what she heard was just noise and not music, which was candidly what I was expecting, what she did do is she turned to me and she said, this is a testimony to one important fact, William, that you probably don't completely understand. And I said, what's that, Mom? And I thought she was going to tell me, everybody needs a haircut or something like that. But what she said instead was, she said, look at the joy that was in that room. And there's how many people fit in Madison Garden? I said, I don't know, 20,000, 30,000, something like that. And she said, is there anything else that you can think of that would incite that level of sustained joy in that many people at the same time for that long? And tell me you think music isn't important before you answer. That's, you know what, I can't. I have to agree. And that turned a light bulb onto me about what relaxing your brain really means and really looks like. Now, I heard about that when I was your age, burnout, you gotta have varied interests and things like that. I thought, come on, that's kind of for sissies. I want a new car, right? But don't let people tell you this is not important, because one thing I learned sort of early on in my consulting career is there is this thing called burnout, right? And there's some nefarious attributes to burnout, and one is that for me, I didn't know it was coming, right? I mean, I was fine. I hated my job. And I watched colleagues put themselves in a position where they were suddenly hit by this massive burnout after becoming so fatigued, never any muscle relaxation in their head, that they quit the firm. They got frustrated with the job, the lifestyle, the firm, etc., and they left. And these people were all similarly talented, maybe lots more talented than me, and would be standing here in front of you or other venues like this today had they just understood that they needed to relax occasionally. And that was a way to avoid burnout, right? I mean, you hear this about sort of child actors, and they all turn into, freaks in their 20s and 30s, right? You hear this about, Andre Agassi, the tennis great, wrote a long book, most of which chastised his father for forcing him to play tennis. Now, I sat there when I read it, and I said, you dummy, you'd have been a copier repairman had it not been your father forcing you to play tennis and making you into a multimillionaire, right? But the fact is, he hit this burnout wall, and it's instant. And no matter how tough you think you are, or how resilient you think you are, burnout is stronger than you. Right? And I think that's been demonstrated over and over and over again. So find that thing, that spasm prevention mechanism that helps you the most. And it will be an important part of your life. So the conclusion here, at least of the math exercise, fitness, and that's sort of what's right for you, plus passion, and that's you gotta willingly, thoughtfully, and in a focused way find those things that are appealing about your job or your life and make you happy. And it won't be everything, so you gotta find those nuggets. You put those two things together, you get this idea called sustained energy, right? And that is the ability to apply yourself in an intense way over time, right? So you take sustained energy plus tools times the quantity times resolve, you get the problem solving, right? Problem solving over context mastery. I'm taking a math poetic license here, over math equals success, right? And that's what will make, that logical progression is what will make you successful in a very complex environment. Now, so for those of you, and I know there are some out there, who don't respond to philosophy very well, and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, this guy must think who does he think he is, Plato out there? Right? None of this is going to work for me. So for that group, I will give you tactical actions that lead to strategic career success. How about that? I wrote that myself. Now, the first 5 fit into the math formula, or at least relate to the math formula that I just gave you. Number 1, be available. Right? If people come to me in our large organization all the time, hundreds per year, and they ask for an appointment, they sit down in front of me, and they say, Bill, how can I be successful at Deloitte? Right? And you could use Deloitte as a proxy for whatever company or whatever context in which you're going to work. Right? How can I be successful here? You've obviously been very successful, and maybe the unspoken part is with very little in the way of tools. You've been very successful. How is this done? Well, so I give them these things. Right? So number 1, be available, and that's the energy piece of this, right? When your phone rings, answer it. When you get an email, answer it. When you be in the office, be available, be visible, right? When somebody comes to you and says, can you do something? A good answer to that is yes, right? So be available. Second, be enthusiastic, right? This is the passion piece of this, right? Be enthusiastic. Nobody likes working with sort of a downer, right? And somebody said, well, okay, I'll do it, but it's going to be horrible, and the outcome isn't good. No, that's not what you want to do. You want to be enthusiastic. So be available, number 1, enthusiastic, number 2, and then number 3, and this has been a challenge for universities, at least since 1979, when I graduated, because it was the same sort of dialogue was going on then. And from what I understand from the faculty, and my own experience with it, it's still a problem today, and it is rule number 3, be a great communicator, right? Be a great communicator, and whether that is orally, as I am doing today, and you can be the judge of whether or not this is great, I suppose, or via the written word, and there's even more of that, by email and text, and all the things that we use as tools today, but you gotta be a great communicator, and you have to be elegant, simple, and precise, and transparent in the way you message people. And the reason why all those things are more important today than they have ever been is because the noise levels are so much higher, right? So when I first started at Deloitte, I'll never forget the day that I got 30 emails and I felt overwhelmed. 30 emails. I'm like, are you kidding me? Right? Now, I get about 400 emails a day. And I would say 300 of them require me to do something. Right? And that's every single day, including Saturday and Sunday. So guess what? On Monday morning, there might be 600 of them sitting there, right? So that's the noise level that we're dealing with today, right? And so in order to pierce that noise and to gain mind share, get your point across, do the things that are necessary to solve problems, be successful, you have to be a great communicator now more than ever. And poor Mrs. Varner, the professor that tried to teach me that during business report writing, if I'd have known then what I know now, I probably would have sat up straighter and paid more attention. I probably would have. So I would advise you to do the same thing. Item number 4, and this is one of the great ironies, I think, in the large corporate context, and that is, you all need to be students of your profession. Right? It is amazing to me how many smart people we hired into Deloitte, and they have demonstrated their ability to learn in a very proficient way. As a result, you're honor students and you graduate and all of those things, and you come to Deloitte and you kind of throw that in neutral. And you wait for us to give you a training class, or you wait for us to give you a lecture or hand you a document or something like that. What we need, and what I would say business needs in general, and this world needs in general, are people who remain self-starters their entire lives on the quest of acquiring knowledge. So be a student of what it is you do, and people always nod and like, yeah, Bill, we do that, yeah, all good, know that, right? And so whenever I pick that up in the crowd that I'm speaking from, these are typically maybe Deloitte people or industry groups or something like that, I say, okay, raise your hand if you have read a book on consulting in the last week. Uh-oh. Then I get crickets, right? And that's what that means. That's what means being a student of your profession. That's what that means, is you have to go out and get it. You should be Amazon's best customer as it relates to getting documents and books and pieces of information on your, whatever gives you passion in your profession. Right? Be a student of your profession, incredibly important. This acquisition of knowledge is a tool that you have demonstrated you could use already. Don't be the carpenter who throws away his hammer at his first day of work. You know, don't be that person. This is a tool that you need to continue to use. Number 5, always be solving problems. When you're not solving problems, the right problems, the crux of the issue, you will be largely irrelevant. And that is a fact. That is a fact. And I can tell you that I've experienced that time and time and time again. It's not just consulting. I think it's throughout your entire professional lives. So be a problem solver. And I was sitting one day having lunch, and I was a little nervous about this, as a matter of fact. And my lunch partner was Sharon Allen, and Sharon Allen was the chairman of the board of Deloitte. And so I had wangled a lunch with her, largely to, self-promote, candidly, and let her know who I was and get visibility and try to convince her how smart I was and that sort of thing. So I sat in front of Sharon Allen, and I said, Sharon, I have a question for you. So you've been doing this a long time, and I've watched her, preside over board meetings and other sort of groups and things like that, and she was always just so gracious about it, even when the dumbest questions came up, or that, just things that we've learned 1,000 times represented themselves as problems that needed to be solved. She remained patient, graceful, gracious, and statesmanlike throughout that entire process. I asked her how she did that. And she said, Bill, the way that I do that is I remain intellectually curious, and I do not succumb to dogma. And then she just looked at me. And I thought, what am I supposed to say now? Right? So I shifted around a little bit, and I said, I assume you're making a recommendation. And she said, yes, I am. And so that was the day that I sort of decided I was going to make a part of my working effort every day to make sure I was not succumbing to dogma, and I consciously, in a directed way, maintain my intellectual curiosity. Okay? The next 5, and the last 5, are so qualitative they don't really fit into a math equation, but I'm going to give them to you anyway. Number 6, folks, go to graduation, hang your diploma on the wall. You are more special, and this is more special than you think. Right? Today, you may think, yeah, this is cool, right? But it's maybe not really that cool. It really is that cool. You just don't know it yet because you don't have what? Begins with a C, context. Context. You don't have context yet, right? You're not mastering the context. Maybe one of you did raise his hand. So celebrate this victory. At that moment in time, I didn't think I had the time to do it. And so and I don't even know where my diploma got off to, and I didn't have time to get to graduation because I was already on the first day of the job, that sort of thing. Celebrate this. This is a victory. Celebrate this. This is more special than you think it is. That's my word of advice. Number 7, be determined to learn something from everyone you interact with. This easily leads to being authentic and caring. And people spot that immediately in you if you are, and they can also spot that immediately if you are someone who is faking sincerity. Right? So be aware that you need to try to learn something from everyone you interact with. Number 8, be a person of varied interest. This is that magical release. This is this uncramping of the brain. Number 9, I would advise you to look up the words courage, valor, and kindness. Those are 3 qualitative elements of success. And I would just ask everyone in this room, you may think you know what the definitions are. I would go and I would memorize it, and I would try to put them into your daily life. And lastly, in that context, I think that this generation of people in this room should be prepared to save the world. I think that's what you're preparing yourself to do. My generation had the great luxury of really not having to do this. Right? So you ever heard Tom Brokaw talk about the greatest generation? right? So it was my parents who saved the world from tyranny by winning World War II, right? And there are other forms of tyranny and other ways battles can be fought, but that's an iconic one, right? As a result of the courage, kindness, and valor of the previous generation, my generation we got a generation off. I think my personal opinion is that you're not going to have that luxury. I think you're going to have to be prepared to save the world. And I think that there are things that are happening today accelerated by technology, accelerated by the very technology that my generation created, that now you will have to master and control so that it's directed to the powers of good rather than the dark forces, if you will, right? And I said this in the smaller group earlier. I said, it's my generation that created all this stuff, and they said, oh, thanks. And I said, you're welcome, but I mean, it's going to be your deal, right? So I think that's going to be your lot in life. And all the things that I've talked about and 1,000 others are going to be what's needed to shoulder this version or this responsibility effectively. So in summation then, thank you. Thank you to this group for what you've already done, which includes getting to the position you're in today. Thank you to the parents in this room for raising such fine children. I mean, it's just incredible to me, the talent in this room. Thank you again for what you will do. And that is making successes out of yourselves and all the people around you. And then lastly, thank you in advance for saving the world, because I think you just may have to. And my final remark is, go Redbirds. Thank you.
Oh, Q&A. No time for Q&A or Q&A? We good? You got time? Yes? No? Sure. Okay. Anybody got a question? Are we good? Yep. Q&A. Yes, sir. Good in front. Go ahead.
Is there any way I can get those points again? Because there's no way I could.
Once I get this past branding and legal in my firm, which will take about a week, I'm serious. It's one of the bad news. Bad parts about working for a big company. I will make this available to the group. Yes, absolutely. Other questions, comments? Stunned silence? Yes, sir.
I'd just like to make a comment, William. These kids couldn't have a better speaker, and you have a fantastic view of the obvious. You know, some people can spend a whole lifetime and never see what you see, and I hope these kids get it because it'll be a fantastic thing in their lives.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Other comments? Criticisms, maybe? Somebody want to throw the BS flag? It's okay. It's okay. Are we good? Very good. All right, thanks again, guys. This has been very energetic.
Well, yeah, thank you, Mr. Allison, for the wisdom and advice. They're really helpful. At this time, we just have a few short announcements. This year, the College of Business was kind enough to send me and Vice President Paige Schlesinger to the annual Beta Gamma Sigma Student Leadership Forum held in San Diego. I know for both of us, we found this to be one of the most insightful weekends of our lives. We met people who we hope to stay in touch with, forever. So really a valuable experience. And we plan to send 2 students to the conference again next year, which will be held in February. More information about the conference, Beta Gamma Sigma activities, and elections of the executive board members will be discussed at our new member information night on April 14th. You will receive an email in the next week with specific details, so please be on the lookout and plan to attend that. Christine Knuth, Associate Director of the MBA program and our advisor for Beta Gamma Sigma, will now make 4 special presentations.
Good afternoon. It is my sincere pleasure to present the following awards. The Delta Sigma Pi Scholarship Key. Each spring, the International Fraternity of Delta Sigma Pi awards the Delta Sigma Pi Scholarship Key to the graduating honors student with the highest cumulative academic average for all coursework completed towards a degree in business. Since Delta Sigma Pi accepts both men and women business students into membership, the scholarship key is to be awarded to the honors student with the highest academic grade point average whether the winner be a man or a woman, and whether the person is or is not a member of Delta Sigma Pi. The recipient for this year is Allison DeWert. As Allison makes her way to the front of the room, I would like to share with you some of her accomplishments while attending Illinois State University. Allison is an honors student in the Integrated Bachelor's Master's Degree program in accounting. She has earned a perfect 4.0 GPA on all coursework completed here at ISU in both her undergraduate and graduate work. She is also a member of Beta Gamma Sigma and Beta Alpha Psi. Allison will graduate in August and has plans to take the CPA exam over the summer. Upon graduation, she will begin an assurance position with McLeod. Please join me in congratulating Allison. The Gromark Vern McGinnis Leadership Scholarship was created to honor Vern McGinnis, a retired executive of Gromark Incorporated who served as president of the College of Business Advisory Council for 10 years while Dixie Mills was dean of the College of Business of ISU. Mr. McGinnis provided leadership for the council when it was initially established and helped it grow and mature into a functional support mechanism for the college. Mr. McGinnis's activity with the College of Business also broadened and deepened the relationship between the college and Gromark and sparked the idea for establishing a fund to support the scholarship. This scholarship was established to honor and provide financial support for high-caliber sophomore and junior business students at Illinois State University who have a minimum of a 3.0 cumulative GPA, demonstrate leadership and integrity in their daily life, as well as involvement with campus extracurricular and/or community activities. The amount of the award is $1,600. The 2015 recipient is Krista Fitzgerald. Krista is currently a junior honors student majoring in professional sales. She's extremely active at the university and currently holds the Vice President of Professional Development position for Pi Sigma Epsilon. She's an Illinois State University Senior Professionals mentee and works as an ambassador for the admissions office on campus. She volunteers for Partners in Reading, where she tutors a third grader, and assisted with the Giving Tree and Home Sweet Home ministry. She certainly established herself as a leader among her peers and is truly worthy of this recognition. Please join me in congratulating Krista on her award. Student Service Award. The award is named for Connie Krug, who devoted herself to the personal and professional development of business students and served as the first advisor to the College of Business Executive Council until her retirement in 2000. This award is given to a student who exhibits outstanding qualities in his or her activities within the College of Business. Each College of Business student organization registered with the Office of Student Life may submit the name and credentials of one of their student members to be considered for this award. The award is voted on by the College of Business Executive Council, which consists of the presidents of each of the business clubs and organizations within the college. The recipient receives an $800 financial award, a certificate, and has their name displayed on a permanent plaque in the College of Business. The recipient for this year is Frank Bush, representing Gamma Iota Sigma, Delta Sigma Pi, Business Week, Toastmasters, and Quebec itself. As Frank makes his way up here, I would like to share with you some of his accomplishments. Frank will graduate this May with a double major in finance and insurance, and I've personally had the pleasure of knowing him for the last 3 years. He is an outstanding young man who has been extensively involved in the College of Business, joining his first registered student organization as a first semester freshman at ISU. Some of his affiliations over the years include Toastmasters, Delta Sigma Pi, Gamma Iota Sigma, and he's currently the president of both the Business Week Student Organization and the College of Business Executive Council. He has enjoyed many professional development opportunities as a result of his activities and more recently shifted his focus to helping other business students accomplish the same things. Upon graduation in May, Frank will be moving to Phoenix, Arizona, where he'll begin his career with All Risks Limited, an insurance surplus lines wholesale broker. Please join me in congratulating Frank on his award. The Jack North Student Leadership Award was created to honor Jack North, retired Senior Executive Vice President at State Farm Insurance. Mr. Norris served on the College Business Advisory Council and is chairman of the first Illinois State University capital campaign that raised $96 million for the university. He is a dedicated servant leader and supports this award to honor an outstanding student who shows potential as a future business and civic leader. The amount of the award is $2,000. The recipient also receives a certificate and a copy of the book, Leadership is an Art, written by Max Dupree. This recipient will also represent the graduating class by providing opening remarks at the May commencement ceremony. This award is for a graduating senior or BSMPA student in the College of Business. Qualified candidates will have at least a 3.0 cumulative GPA, display extensive involvement in College of Business and Illinois State University activities, reflect a commitment to service leadership through involvement in community and civic activities, and reflect integrity in their daily life. The 2015 recipient is Ashley Torrey. Ashley is an honor student graduating in May with a major in human resource management and a minor in international business. As the award suggests, she's heavily involved in the College of Business and university organizations. Some of her activities in the college include Vice President of Fundraising for Delta Sigma Pi, Corporate Social Responsibility Coordinator and Mentor Coordinator for Business Week, and most recently President of the Society for Human Resource Management. Outside of the college, Ashley is a member of Alpha Gamma Delta sorority, was part of a peer leadership team for the Leadership and Service Office, and participated in a Leaders for Social Change service trip to Washington, D.C. Any remaining time she has left to spend on community service activities, such as Bringing Back to Normal Day of Service and the Hope Indiana Beautification Project. On top of all of that, Ashley was also selected as this year's Homecoming Queen. Upon graduation in May, Ashley will begin her professional career as a human resources generalist for Cummins Incorporated in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Please join me in congratulating Ashley on her award.
All right, well, that concludes the formal program today. We have some light refreshments available in the back, so we encourage you guys to stick around and network with some of the new members here and maybe talk more with Mr. Allison. And we also have there's a monument of the Beta Gamma Sigma Key over at the College of Business in the courtyard. It makes a really good spot to take some pictures. So if you guys want to head over there afterwards, I encourage you to do that. And once again, congratulations, everybody.